Hi everyone, Spark here, bringing you a different kind of video. This time we're gonna review the book and the game played in the book The Art of the Stab, which is the only novel that I know of about the game of diplomacy. This book was published in 2021 and was heavily publicized in the diplomacy community by channels like Northern Diplomacy and also the Diplomacy Broadcast Network, so I highly incentivize you to go watch their interviews with the author for the Diplomacy Broadcast Network and for Floridaman his review of this book. I will do something more than just review the book. I will also review the game. I was, during my reading of this book, creating a sandbox of the game in real time to better understand what was happening on the board. So I have this sandbox that I will show you. So spoiler alert, after my reading of the review, I will spoil the whole game. So if you are interested in reading this book, don't, after I read you my review, which is no spoiler, then I will actually spoil you what happens in the game, so don't proceed with the video after that. So first of all, let me read you my review. As you can see, I gave it 4 stars out of 5 on Goodreads, which is quite a high rating, and I think that it's quite a gift also, because honestly it was quite difficult for me to decide if I wanted to give this book a 3-star rating or 4. I decided on 4 because it's a book about diplomacy, which is one of my favorite hobbies, probably my favorite game, and I don't want to discourage the author. Also shout out to the author Jamie Langa, which, I mean, is really good at writing, and the plot is very interesting, the characters are well written. But I had one problem with this book, and it was kind of a major one. So let's read my review. Even though I really liked The Art of the Stab, unfortunately I can't bring myself to give it 5 stars and settle on 4 because the story was intriguing, the characters interesting, and I love the idea of writing a book focused on the very niche hobby that is diplomacy. This book has one and only one major problem. It tries to straddle a middle ground that it can't find. What I mean is that it seems to want to attract readers from the diplomacy community by focusing a lot on the moves of the match, but at the same time chooses to have a very ugly and workmanlike, that is a direct quote from the book, tactics. Can a person that has never played the diplomacy board game read this book and enjoy it? Honestly, I doubt it. The story of the characters can interest anybody, but the core of the book are the negotiations between the various players, and it gets technical more often than not. I think a non-diplomacy player would just get himself a headache trying to decipher what is happening in the game. So basically, to summarize this part, if you've never played diplomacy, I have no idea how you came to watch this video, but this is not the book for you if you have never played diplomacy. If you have though, keep reading. So what about an experienced diplomacy player? Perhaps this book is reserved for hobby enthusiasts like me. Honestly, if I'm buying a novel about diplomacy, I want it to be very focused on the game. The problem is, most of the characters are beginners, amateurs, and don't really know how to play. Even the ones that aren't beginners and aren't losing on purpose, because you will see that one of the players is losing on purpose in this game, play very badly. Take the player that plays Russia and look at his moves for Fall 1902 to get an example. But in all honesty, such bad moves are extremely frequent in the whole book. It can be frustrating, like reading a book about a chess tournament, being an experienced player in real life, and seeing that the characters, even those that are supposed to be good, have no idea how to play. You know the stereotype of the chess master that thinks for 10 minutes before finding checkmate in one move? Yeah, like that. I understand it's up to the author to decide if the characters are competent or not, but as a reader, I think it's my right to opine that the story would have been less frustrating had it revolved around a group of players who, even if inexperienced, had a better understanding of the tactics of the game. That is, of course, from the perspective of a diplomacy player reading this book, who represents, as I explained before, the target audience. All things considered, I enjoyed the style of the author and the plot. My only criticism concerns the actual moves of the match. It may seem a very minor criticism, but considering the overwhelming focus on the moves in the story, I couldn't avoid mentioning this single flaw of the book in my review. So yeah, this is basically why I couldn't really enjoy this book to its fullest potential, because I like the story. I just wish the game that the players actually play was better, and I know even the author, through one of the characters at the end of the game, thanks the reader that the game was not that good. But I don't think that justification works. Even though it's expected that bad players will play badly, I wanted these players to be exception to the rule and play at least somewhat competently, and they actually can't. More frustratingly than that, even the players that are supposed to have some experience in this game don't know how to play. Let me show you. So this is the Art of the Stab game. The players, in particular, you have to know 3 things. And from this point on, I will spoil the actual game and some of the plot. Italy is actually a very good player. The book says that he's as a very good player, but he's losing on purpose. And he's excusing his losing very fast by being Italy. This makes no sense, because Italy is actually a quite difficult power to lose with at the beginning of the game. Even if in low-level games, Italy is probably the most difficult power to win with, it's actually quite difficult to lose with Italy fast, because no one targets you first. So the fact that Italy loses so fast in this game is quite hilarious, and it's quite obvious that Italy is losing on purpose. I mean, their moves make absolutely no sense, and Italy is supposed to be a good player, the one that teaches the other guys how to play. Russia is also supposed to be a guy that has already played, but you see that it does not show at all. Germany is a guy that has secretly prepared for this match. So he's played some games online, and he says that he's actually better than they think he is. So we would expect that Germany, Russia, and Italy are the better players, but Italy is throwing, and Russia and Germany don't know what they're doing too. Also, point of reference, Germany and Turkey are boyfriend and girlfriend respectively, and Austria is the best friend of Turkey and is also secretly in love with the Turkish player. Okay, so as Spring 1901 begins, we have a pretty normal West, but a pretty messed up East. The Italian opening makes no sense whatsoever, and the Russian opening is also bad, even admitting that Russia and Turkey have DMZ'd Black Sea, which could make sense. Why is Russia not moving to Galicia then? And if Russia has DMZ'd Galicia with Austria, why is Russia not moving to Black Sea? You can DMZ both. It's pretty bad if you do. If I have to choose the one that is playing worse this particular season, it's Austria. What a bad opening. First of all, Austria should never choose Italy as their first target, and second of all, not like this at all. I can accept this opening if you change Trieste to Albania. It's not my preferred opening, but if you trust Russia to DMZ Galicia, okay, you can move Trieste to Albania, Vienna to Trieste, and Budapest to Serbia. But this is just going for Venice, which is not gonna work, and it's also exposing you to Turkey and Russia massively. Really bad, but so far we can understand that since these players, especially the Austrian player, has never played, they could make a major mistake because they don't know that there are certain openings that are better than others. Let's go on. In Fall 1901, the French and English moves are quite normal. The German moves are somewhat strange, but let's not focus on that because they are, not completely common, but okay. The Russian moves in the north, taking Sweden, is fine, but the Russian moves in the south don't make sense. They move Ukraine to Romania, but Romania to Sevastopol. That means that if Austria or Turkey decide to bounce Russia out of Romania or to support each other in Romania, they can, and Russia can't do anything about it. Supporting Romania with Ukraine would be better, or even moving Ukraine somewhere else and keep Romania there, but don't move Romania out so that Ukraine can be bounced. That is really bad. The Turkish moves make some sense, even though they're moving Constantinople to Bulgaria East Coast. Italy of course, is making no sense whatsoever, ceding Venice to Austria without putting any fight to keep it. But of course, the worst move again goes to Austria, which moves Serbia to Albania for no reason whatsoever, emptying Serbia and not taking it. So they're taking Venice, but which was not even guaranteed, but they're refusing to take Serbia for no reason at all. So very bad. Let's disregard the things which are pretty normal. In spring 1902, it seems that we have an English-Russian alliance, more or less, against the German, and at the same time, France is going against the German too, and is moving to Lyon, which is a strange move, but is also understandable considering that there is a fleet in Tyrrhenian Sea. Turkey is going against Russia. Russia is going simultaneously against Austria and Turkey, but is not trying to defend Romania at all. And also against Germany. It's a real mess, and Italy once again doesn't defend himself. Rome is completely open and is taken by Austria in a very obvious move, Venice to Rome. Notice that there are not many supports at all. Like most moves in this game are holds or moves, and you need to support your units to do something in this game. You can't actually just move into a center. This turn, I will say, disregarding the Italian player, which is again losing on purpose, the worst move of this turn is Munich to Tyrolia from Germany. He is supposed to be somewhat good at this game, so this makes no sense. Why is he moving to Tyrolia and harassing Austria for no reason whatsoever when they have enough problems with Russia, England and France going against them? I have no idea. I think that these strange moves are made by the author so that the units are in the position that they're needed for the plot, but I don't like this kind of contrivancy. I would much prefer if the unit was there for intelligent, normal reasons, and then they could be useful later on, like in a normal diplomacy game. In fall 1902, we see that Russia basically does nothing to protect himself against Turkey. They are just doing one-movers in Serbia and Vienna, just holding in Warsaw, etc., etc. England stabs Russia, taking St. Petersburg, which is unprotected. We see a lot of hold orders, especially from France, that achieve nothing. Especially Gulf of Lyon. Why would Gulf of Lyon not support Mid-Atlantic Ocean to Western Med? We see, of course, that Italy throws completely, losing Naples too, not even supporting it or trying to move to Rome or anything. So Italy is losing extremely fast. Of course, Austria takes Naples but loses Rome in the process. But the worst move has to be Baltic Sea to Prussia. Baltic Sea to Prussia achieves absolutely nothing and puts that fleet in a worse position than it was before, and also allows England to stab Russia, because by going to Prussia, they're just allowing England to take St. Petersburg with an army, both things. I could understand if Baltic Sea was moving to Denmark, Kiel or Berlin, but absolutely not to Prussia. This makes absolutely no sense. One of the worst moves I've ever seen, to be honest, in any diplomacy game. Fake or real, Baltic Sea to Prussia, it takes imagination to design this move. I mean, I understand that the author wanted England to stab Russia by convincing them to do suboptimal moves, but Baltic Sea to Prussia is quite absurd. After the build, at this point we see that Germany and Russia try to cooperate with each other against England when England is moving to stab France as well. At the same time, Germany just walks into Vienna because it is unprotected. Turkey continues to steamroll the south, while Russia continues to just move Budapest to Serbia like they've done for turn after turn. Italy loses Tunis for no reason, and Rome. And this time I will give to Italy the worst move of the game. So far I've been good to Italy because Italy is actually losing on purpose. At least that's what the plot says. But supporting Tuscany with Tyrrhenian Sea makes no sense whatsoever. Tyrrhenian Sea does not border a single unit. Piedmont, Venice and Rome are all empty. This means that Tuscany is not risking being dislodged by anything, and Even if it was, I mean, it's Tuscany, it's not a supply center. You're losing Tunis and Rome at the same time. Try to defend one of them. No, they're just supporting Tuscany. If you're giving up, at least hold your units, because I think that even a player that has never played before would understand that Italy is losing on purpose here. These moves are so utterly bad that it's quite obvious that it's on purpose. So, okay, let's go on. At this point, in fall 1903, England executes this stab against France by taking Brest, and the same situation of Germany-Russia against England is going on in the south. England just owns in St. Petersburg instead of moving to Moscow for no reason, and we see this time the stupidest move goes to Germany again, with Vienna to Bohemia. They expended so much effort to conquer this Vienna supply center, and then they just move out and don't take it. And by the way, nobody could have dislodged this unit even if they tried. There was only Budapest bordering Vienna. A close second is another German move, which is Kiel to Berlin, leaving Kiel open, leaving Ruhr the option to take Kiel when they're actually fighting France. So Germany is making a lot of bad moves, considering that they're supposed to be this secretly good player. So no. Russia was also the other guy that had already played, and they're getting completely destroyed. Actually, the only player that is doing somewhat decently is Turkey, which is a complete newbie. And Turkey is doing well because their neighbors are doing so badly, of course. England is doing somewhat reasonable moves, more or less. In spring 1904, we see that England leaves St. Petersburg for no reason, losing it to Russia, and also Russia is moving Moscow to Warsaw for no reason, while St. Petersburg could have moved to Moscow. So why is Moscow moving? Also, if you were wondering, Germany, they're moving back to Kiel, so the move from Kiel to Berlin from fall 1903 made no sense. And also, why did they move Vienna to Bohemia? For no reason whatsoever, because now Bohemia is moving to Vienna again. So they wanted Vienna, but why did they leave it there? France is moving their armies west because they have to defend against England. Turkey is clearly positioning for a stab on Austria, even though in the book Austria and Turkey are best friends and Austria does not suspect anything. Literally the only thing that Turkey can do now is attack Austria. So the worst move in this turn goes to St. Petersburg to Finland. And I think that, the worst move is probably Moscow to Warsaw, because there's at least St. Petersburg to Finland serves the purpose to take Sweden. You could think that England expected to lose St. Petersburg, so they're moving to Finland to take Sweden. As you can see, there are hardly any supports in this board, and a lot of units that are just doing one movers or holding for no reason. In fall 1904, England achieves the taking of Sweden and convoys to Brest and moves to Western Med. England is doing somewhat reasonable moves if you have to assume that they want to eliminate France. That's fine. At the same time, we see Turkey turning around, not stabbing Austria, and Russia supports Tyrolia to Vienna. I think that the worst part of this turn was Turkey not stabbing Austria, because they could have taken Trieste, also maybe another center, depending on the guesses in the Italian peninsula. So I give to Turkey, for the first time, the worst move of this game, and their whole movement of this turn was bad. In spring 1905, Turkey is moving to Vienna without support. Okay, I think that this move was organized by Germany and Turkey, that are secretly allied because they are in a relationship. We see Germany losing Denmark, which makes sense considering that no one could support it. What doesn't make sense is Finland doing nothing. Why wouldn't you at least try to move to St. Petersburg just in case St. Petersburg moves to Botnia? I mean, it's not likely that it will, but considering what Russia has done so far, I wouldn't put it past him. So, and France and England are somewhat fighting in the West. Look at how many homes by Austria, like not doing absolutely anything. Don't do this. I mean, don't hold with a unit unless it's really the best option you have. I think that the worst move of this turn goes to Spain to Gascony, because you really have to cover Marseille at this point. Piedmont doesn't really have anything to do with this, so losing Marseille to... But I can understand that they're saying if I lose it, I can try to retake it. So this turn wasn't, I mean, so full of nonsense. I think that I don't want to give the worst move of the turn to France. I want to give it to Austria for not moving 3 units. Yeah, for the triple homed. Yeah, that's why. That's why I'm giving my worst move of the turn. In fall 1905, we see that Germany retakes Denmark. And at this point, Finland does move to St. Petersburg. Good move by England. At the same time, we see England and France fighting in the south. Austria losing Marseille because they didn't move Venice to Piedmont, so just holding with their units was actually bad. But England sneaks into Spain, taking it. We see that Turkey is pushing against Russia. This turn makes some modicum of sense. And considering that the position was what it was, I don't think that there were very many bad moves in this turn. I mean, France could have tried to take Marseille with Burgundy or Gascony instead of Spain, but it was a guess. They needed to cover Paris. They knew that Spain could have been tapped, so this makes sense. It's not a bad move. So after the miracle that it was the last season in which there weren't very many bad moves, we see that England is crushing France by taking Portugal as well. Austria is continuing to move to Marseille and losing Venice in the process by holding 2 units for no reason whatsoever, while Turkey is still fighting Russia. At this point, we have to say that in the book, it's clear that Turkey and Germany are secretly deciding their moves, and basically Austria is Turkey's patsy because they will never attack them. So as long as Turkey doesn't attack Austria directly, they can let Germany attack Austria and focus on something else. And I mean, Germany wants to win, but they're planning to two-way with Turkey, which is pretty difficult considering how they're splitting the centers, but fine. The worst move of this turn goes again to Austria for not defending Venice, even though there were 2 units adjacent. They should have clearly moved Piedmont or Rome to Venice supported by the other, Piedmont to Venice supported by Rome, and they didn't. So in fall 1906, we see France continuing to defend. 2 holds are understandable considering that Brest will move to Paris and Piedmont will move to Marseille. We see Germany moving further into the Italian peninsula, risking the not taking of Venice because if Rome had moved to Venice, they could have bounced Tyronia, or if they had supported Piedmont into Venice, they could have retaken it. But it doesn't happen. When Turkey takes Tunis from France, while also failing to take Moscow, but Germany takes Warsaw and England is in St. Petersburg. Worst move of this turn goes once again to Austria for not moving Piedmont to Venice supported by Rome, and at the same time to Germany for not supporting Venice with Tyronia, because it was quite clear that Austria should have made that move, and Germany should have had to support Venice to counter that move. So, okay. So at this point, I think that the worst moves of the game are being made by Austria quite regularly, followed by Russia and Germany. France and England are playing quite a normal game, even though there is some strange stuff happening. And Turkey is playing quite a strange game, but also they're clearly winning because they're Turkey and the other players are doing nonsensical stuff. And in spring 1907, we see, England and Germany are continuing to fight in the north. France seems to have given up. They're not even moving Western Med, and Burgundy is moving to rural places. If France is just giving up, I understand this, but if France is actually trying to play competently, this is really bad. Why not cover Paris and move Western Med to Gulf of Lyon or Spain? Makes no sense. So I think they're just giving up at this point. But of course, Turkey is not moving in Galicia, Budapest, Adriatic Sea, and Constantinople and Tunis because they don't want to stab their boyfriend Germany and their best friend Italy. So at this point, I would say that the worst move of this turn goes to Turkey for not moving 5 units and for moving Ionian Sea back to Aegean also, instead of moving it, for example, to Tyrrhenian Sea or to Tunis and moving Tunis somewhere else. So no, absolutely not. At this point, it's quite clear that Turkey should take Vienna and Trieste and go for the Italian centers as well. Of course, this situation would never happen if Germany played competently instead of taking Vienna and Trieste and leaving them open and doing stuff like this. In fall 1907, it's the same. Turkey is basically not playing at this point. Most of the units are just staying in place. Germany is basically doing nothing because they're failing to take Rome. So a lot of moves fail in this board, and England also doesn't move to Marseille, but moves to Gulf of Lyon. I think that England deserves to have the worst move of the game by moving Spain to Gulf of Lyon, because this not only does not try to take Marseille, but also risks losing Spain to France for no reason whatsoever. So I think that even though Turkey is not moving most of their units, and this is really the worst thing you can do at this point, unless you are just staying put because there is a solo threat, there is no reason to do this. I think we'll just justify Turkey by saying that they don't want to betray their boyfriend and their best friend, and let's just say that England made the worst move of this fall. And finally, in spring 1908, we see that France and England are trying to stop Turkey in the south. England is positioning to take Marseille, not even protecting Spain, and let's assume that this fleet is a French janissary for England. I don't know. Germany is still doing stuff against England and England against Germany. At the same time, Turkey is advancing, try to do anything except attacking Germany or Italy. The worst move of the game at this point, I would say that it's again Turkey not attacking anyone. And in spring 1909, Turkey again does nothing except trying to take St. Petersburg, which is clearly gonna fail because Norway will support St. Petersburg forever. England and Germany are still fighting. Turkey is once again not moving. At least they're trying to move Albania to Apulia, but look at all these convoys. I mean, what are these convoys? Let's see. Okay, so in spring 1909, all the fleets in Mid-Atlantic Ocean, Western Med, and Gulf of Lyon are used to convoy Gascony to Piedmont, which is a move that doesn't make any sense, because I understand that England doesn't want to eliminate Marseille because they want to use the French fleet, but Germany could have just supported themselves into Piedmont. Instead, they're holding Venice and Tuscany, not even trying to take Rome. I mean, this turn, I think that we're gonna have a tie because, well, Turkey is playing in an abysmal way because they're not moving anything, not taking Vienna, Trieste, Warsaw, and also they're using both Adriatic and Ionian to support Albania to Apulia instead of using one of the two to support that move. Germany is just holding with Venice and Tuscany, not trying either to support Tyrolia to Piedmont or to take Rome, or to defend Vienna and Trieste, I don't know. Also, Turkey is attacking St. Petersburg when they know that they won't be able to take it. And France and England are doing this major convoy from Gascony to Piedmont all around the Mid-Atlantic Ocean, Western Med, Gulf of Lyon seas for no reason whatsoever, because they can easily be repelled by a single support from Germany. So, okay. maybe this is the worst turn overall because they're all making nonsensical stuff. And also, look at this. Just one movers. Denmark moving to Sweden, Skagerrak moving to Sweden. Bosnia not doing anything. Why not cover Sweden with Bosnia, maybe supported by Skagerrak, and using North Sea to do something useful, like supporting Belgium to Holland, for example. I don't know, like these moves are clearly not gonna work. And actually, if Germany had supported anything, I don't know, Baltic Sea support Denmark to Sweden, they would have taken Sweden. So anyway, and in fall 1909, there is the climax of the story when Turkey unexpectedly stabs their boyfriend in Warsaw, Vienna, and Trieste, going to 14 centers. At this point, the boyfriend, the German player, had agreed on letting Turkey win and to be kingmaker for no reason. But when Turkey does this, the German players goes nuts and throws the board in the air and storms away. And it's revealed that the Turkish player is basically a psychopath. I mean, the Turkish player might be a psychopath, but I don't think that makes them a good diplomacy player at all. And yes, they stabbed Germany and they are at 14. They're gonna most likely win this game, or at least be the board topper. But I mean, the other players played so badly that every Turkey would have reached the same result. And also, this result could have been reached years ago, and they just decided not to stab Germany for no reason before. And if you don't want to stab your boyfriend because it's your boyfriend, why do it 2 years later? Did you just remember that you're a psychopath? I don't know. So this turn, other than Germany not defending anything of their own, and assuming that Germany was so trusting of Turkey that they didn't expect the stab at all, I would say that the worst move is Baltic Sea to go for Bosnia, which serves no purpose at all, closely followed by Venice not supporting Tuscany to Rome. They're both really bad moves, but I think that at least Venice was doing something, supporting Albania to Apulia, but Baltic Sea makes no sense whatsoever. In the end, I think that the best game was played by England, because at least England played somewhat normally. And yes, Turkey won, but I mean, it would have been a challenge not to win. The game gets interrupted here, with Turkey in first place, followed by England in second place, Germany, Austria, and France. Even though the plot is interesting and the characters are interesting, you can see that this game is all quite a farce. I was quite disappointed. I was expecting a very interesting game written in a novel, but actually the game was all but nonsensical. Thank you for listening this long, and I still recommend the book for the plot, but don't expect a good game. See you next time.